this is more than just out the side of the mouth. This is getting pretty real regarding team, the stadium, and the pressure points, the students of goals, on a number of key figures in the AFL industry.
So if you're listening, I'm going to try to summarise it for you in 60 seconds or less, because I think this is the biggest story in football right now, and I'm not going to go away quietly from it. So the AFL sold Tasmania and the rest of the clubs a dream, a roofed, state-of-the-art stadium at Macquarie Point. It was a condition. It was a guarantee. It was the single biggest reason the other 18 club presidents signed off on the Devils entering. But now, these quiet nerves that we've been hearing about are turning into genuine concern behind closed doors. So I've spoken to 10 club officials this week since Footy Classified, 6 presidents and 4 chief executives. Of the 10, 8 hold serious concerns about the viability of Tasmania, particularly now that they're feeling the team may go ahead with or without the Macquarie Point Stadium. So there's many reasons why they think the AFL may blink. There's construction delays. There's rising diesel prices, given what's happening in the Middle East at the moment. There's labour shortages, and there's ballooning costs. Remember, this was originally a $750 project. It then quickly became a $1 billion project. The latest estimates are 1.2, and when the price comes back from tender in September, as the AFL and the Tasmanian government expect, it is believed it will be closer to 1.7, given construction costs. So they're going to have to find the extra money, or they're going to have to cut corners, or they're going to have to abandon this stadium altogether and put money into upgrading Launceston and upgrading Bellerive. So here's the uncomfortable reality for everyone listening at the moment. If this stadium is abandoned, some club power brokers believe it will effectively be the AFL abandoning its word to the competition. So the question I have for you and for every AFL member of a club out there listening, what would you as a footy fan rather? The AFL biting the bullet and admitting they rushed Tasmania and abandoning it now? Or would you rather abandon the promise it made to you and the other 18 clubs? Because this is out of sight, out of mind at the moment, Lordo, and I completely understand why, but I tell you when it will become relevant. If this team is in the competition with no asset behind it and your memberships go up, or the price of going to the footy and ordering a pot goes up, or the simple thing of having to afford your KO goes up because we have to fund this 19th team with no asset, it will start mattering to the everyday fan very, very quickly.
There's a paragraph that sort of got me thinking a fair bit, Sam, and it is a great read, and I don't mean to read chunks of it because I want people to go read it, but it states by Sam McClure, under current arrangement, club presidents have the power to effectively veto the Tasmanian team if there is any material alteration to the agreement underpinning the licence, including significant changes to the stadium commitments such as a roof. Why that, sort of...
Do you want me to put that in layman's terms?
Please.
So if they come back and say, look, it's 400 million over. Oh, okay. Look, we're just going to save ourselves 300. We're not going to build a roof. It means, Lloydie, that technically the AFL has to go back to the 18 presidents because there's been a fundamental change to the contract and say, hey, are you guys happy for us to continue with this team? Now, whether they do that or whether they try to bully their way through this, this is going to become an issue in our game very quickly. We are 18 months away from their first pre-season.
So the other factor with what we've highlighted here, I feel like the AFL's done well to get itself out from being, call it the ultimate decision maker by
the bad guy.
The bad guy, because what they've done by quickly bringing in all the draft, free agency, father-son, NGA, being able to trade picks three years in advance, and then obviously declaring Tasmania's draft hand. They've already set all clubs in motion already with the fact that the Tasmania is coming out at this point.
Yep. And you can trade into that draft in this year's draft.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they've already made all their moves going on. Well, Tassie's coming in here. We're doing this. We're setting our list strategy this way. Richmond actually did their list strategy a little bit with the eye on Tasmania. Carlton are probably going to have to do the same thing. But then if you can then go back to the clubs and go, oh, well, you're the ones that are going to have to rip it up. Can you imagine all the plans that have been put in place or decisions made on current players right now? Because there might be a player go, oh, do we hold on to him for another 2 years or do we axe him and get another list spot? Because we know Tassie's coming in.
Anyway, I know we all like talking about what we're passionate about off the top on Friday nights. That's me. We can wait for callers. But, Lloydie, I know you want to talk about the Blues.
So I also want to ask you, Sam, so at the end of the day, who will have the final say? Is it the AFL Commission? Is it the presidents of clubs? who will just dictate this? If, say, the stadium suddenly is on the back burner, and could Tasmania, who decides could Tasmania just play somewhere else for a period of time to keep this going?
Technically, the 18 club presidents hold all of the cards here. Yeah. But as we know, and I'm not trying to sound too cynical about this, the AFL make their own rules. If they want something to happen, it invariably happens. But there is a meeting of the presidents before the Hall of Fame dinner on June 9. This is item 1, 2 and 3 on the agenda.
Lloydie, Sam did touch on it. Carlton,
yes.
Where to next in your eyes? I know you've taken a good look at this. We've had discussions off air. Where to next for Carlton?
Yeah, and I'm interested in the Carlton fans out there, or just people in general, and you guys, on what you think Carlton should do next. I think the most important person, is the senior coach. And yes, you need a good CEO and you need the good list boss, but the senior coach is the one that drives the environment and the culture, more importantly than anyone, in my opinion. And so Carlton, since Brett Ratton, they went Mick Malthouse, who was a tried coach, premiership coach at Collingwood, didn't work, didn't last long there. Then they went Brendan Bolton, who'd come out of Hawthorn, very successful there. That didn't work. Then the caretaker for Bolton was David Teague, who everyone got swept up in the Teague train and what went on there. That didn't work. So then they said, okay, I think we need another. We went go experience again. The boss walks in and they said, okay, this guy who commands respect and all that sort of thing. So they've gone.
He was a leader of men. Here's the quote from Luke Sayers on the day he was hired.
So they've had Malthouse and Voss, the tried. They've had Bolton and Teague, the untried. So now we sit here, and I reckon all three would take it if it was offered to him, in Longmire, Simpson and Hinkley, because they're not ruling it out. I think they're open to be spoken to. But then also I look at it and go, these aren't the guys that normally win premierships. It's the guys in the last decade or two. It's Damien Hardwick, who's the next Clarkson, or it's Chris Fagan, who was the man who Brisbane went outside of that. So I just wonder which way Graham Wright will go.
It's a great question that Lloydie asked you. What do Carlton fans want?
Yes.
Because he's just painted a pretty bleak picture. 2-2. All 4 have failed. So if you're Carlton, do you want the big name that you can hang your hat on and get excited about, like a John Longmire?
Or is it the Stephen King, the next best?
Or are you taking the risk?
Yeah.
You're finding the Corey Enright and turning him into your next coach, because that comes with an element of risk and an element of, if this guy's no good, then where are we?
It's how you spend your money across the football department now. We saw when Craig McRae came in under Graham Wright.
Yep.
You have a look at the support staff there. I know Justin Lepage has now moved into the list management space, but he was there in the coach's box. Brendan Bolton was there in the coach's box. Hayden Skipworth with a lot of course, coaching experience. And it was the panel of coaches. Of course, Craig was in charge of that. You have a look. I know. Retrospectively, it looks even better. But under Alistair Clarkson, there was a whole host of talented coaches below him. It was the staff as well. Under Damien Hardwick, there was a lot of talent underneath him regarding coaches. Chris Scott surrounds himself with talented people. So it's how you fill out the whole entire coaching department.
Johnny Longmire reminds me of the Craig Bellamy of the NRL, where he just keeps getting you there because he's just the standards, the expectations. He's got a fearsome look. John Longmire, when he speaks, everyone's going to stand up and listen. So the respect that he commands and the demands, and I think Carlton need that, and I think that even dealing with with coteries and people outside the club would be an issue at Carlton. So I think someone like John Longmire, that's what he ticks a fair few boxes for me in what he can bring. But then also, I also see the history of what the new coaches, modern coaches like Sam Mitchell, and what they do. I just think that's potentially. So it's a really tough decision for Carlton to go down, but the suggestion is that Graham Wright will most likely go down, the new coach.
David, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Collingwood member here, and what you guys touched on earlier is that there's no chance I'm going down there to Tassie to watch a game without a new stadium. I went last year as a guest with a friend to Hawthorn Adelaide, and it was 2 degrees. We were sitting behind the glass. I poked my head out for 3 seconds, and it was ridiculously cold. And the score was 47-44. And and listen, I want Tassie in this competition as much as anyone. But if there's no money there, they can't build a stadium without the money. So they've got to work it out. It's either one or the other. Tassie might have to wait 5 or 10 years until they can get the funding for it. But as it is, there's no chance you can have games there without a roof.
I think that's a great call. I think he summed up because he's had the experience of being down there and wants a team, which we all do, but we've got to do it properly. So could it be that it is put off? Because my worry is kids are being asked right now, would you want to accept a deal with Tasmania? There's kids who are assessing. Some are saying no, some will consider saying yes. I know some boys who are next in line for Tasmania to approach and say, would you like to be next in? But then that's decisions are being made right here and right now. And I just wonder where the AFL needs to put a delay on it.
I would delay it, Jimmy. Now, they're not going to do that.
Cool,
but I think the best move for the AFL soon would be, look, given everything that's happening in the world right now, you could easily deflect to what's going on in the Middle East. Given everything that's happening with construction costs, the cost of living, what we're going to do is we want to afford Tasmania the best chance of doing the best that they can. So we're going to delay it.
That decision has to be made rapidly. Because
it has to be made before the draft. So it has to be made in the next 3 months.
Yeah, that's rapid.
That's pretty rapid. Yeah, you're right.
According to the pace of play around the corner here.
Good point.